What's up everyone, welcome to today's video. Gotham Knights on console at 30 FPS for $70. Was this a bad thing? One of my audience members said, this game is a disappointment because they asked for $70 for a 30 FPS game. And I responded and said, ladies and gentlemen, many of you have played a 30 FPS game that you paid more money for that. Think about it. If you go back to say maybe a game like Arkham Knight, you'll realize that its DLC right now is being sold for $20. Yes, I understand. The premium edition is being sold for, $40, but that is a discounted price for the game. When the game came out, it was being sold for $60 all over the place. I remember buying it on console, but I actually bought it from eBay because it was a little cheaper there. And then the DLC, the season pass, was basically $20. So you spent $80 on a game that played at 30 FPS. There were no complaints then, other than maybe you can argue that the content that you had in the DLC, maybe you can say it was much more content than Gotham Knights. I could argue either way, but maybe I'll give it to you. But at the end of the day, this is what you paid for the full experience of the game. Another game I can cite is Marvel's Spider-Man. A 30 FPS game at the time that it launched, and a $20 DLC, basically you spending about $80 if you pursued that content at the time of launch. So for people that are saying that this game coming out at 30 FPS is some kind of a bad thing and they should not have charged $70, I agree with you. I'm just saying that you've actually paid $70 in the past for a video game that you liked. Now, you could also say, but Arkham Knight maybe looked better than Gotham Knights. Which is the question that maybe we need to answer. Maybe you don't like Gotham Knights. Maybe you don't like the art style. But to say that, okay, the game is a disappointment because you don't like its art style, I throw that away because I look at this from a game development perspective. This is all about art styles more than anything else. A lot of people even say they don't like Elden Ring because of its presentation. Art style really does matter in a video game, and for some, it's not appealing. Now, granted, the art style and the representation of Gotham in Arkham Knights is actually superior to what Gotham Knights was able to do. Arkham Knight looks freaking amazing, but I don't necessarily see it as something that really makes one developer better than the other because both games are different. You see, Gotham Knight's an RPG, Arkham Knight is an action-adventure game. So yes, maybe I can give you the world design and you can say, okay, maybe to you, it doesn't seem to resonate. But in terms of games, Rocksteady and all of these people talking about Rocksteady's games have not basically considered the way the game mechanics actually are set up between both games. Unless Rocksteady has made an RPG that I don't know about, you can't tell me that Rocksteady made a better game than, Warner Brothers Montreal, because both games are different. Now, Rocksteady made a better action-adventure Arkham game, or a set of better action-adventure Arkham games than Warner Brothers Montreal, but there's no way Rocksteady has made an RPG better than them because they haven't even made one at all. So I decided that I put this argument in the front and center because at the end of the day, when you think about it, I recommended that people pay $40 on console for this particular game because I knew the 60 FPS thing was going to be a big, issue for a lot of people. I even remember having to trade old games to be able to buy this game on console because on PC it was much cheaper. It was like $54 for the digital deluxe edition while they were asking $80 here on console. So I did not think anybody wanted to pay that amount of money. So here are a few things. Gotham Knights is just a different game. It's not a game that was made with a mass appeal in mind. I think it was a game that was made with fan service. If you kind of think about it, the superheroes themselves that were put here, the characters, they don't necessarily have as much brand recognition as Batman. In a sense, I mean, if you think about the way Rocksteady even treated them, they were basically relegated to be DLC characters with very short stories that you could play in a very small amount of time. Whereas here, they're giving front stage, they're giving the front and center of the, the main story, and Batman is pretty much out of the picture in a sense. So I think that's one way you can look at the game and say, well, the mass appeal is not there. Another thing too is a lot of people who played the Arkham games, when you watch reviews and you watch criticisms and critiques of Gotham Knights, a lot of them were expecting Arkham combat, the kind of combat where you use two buttons and you win, counter and dodge. Pretty much. Oh, well, counter, punch, and dodge, 3 buttons. That's pretty much what the Arkham games did for you, and it automated a lot of your stuff. Here in Gotham Knights, you literally have to build your combat from ground up. You need to represent your style very well based on your character, based on your abilities, and you need to be able to figure it out. There's a lot more button pressing here and button combination pressing here that for many people, that extra work has just taken away from the combat for them. When in reality, this has provided a deeper combat that I would argue is better than games like Assassin's Creed, which is a game that's also an RPG that this game seems to mimic in a sense, judging by the fact that there were Ubisoft developers who worked on this game. I'm not necessarily surprised. So The $70 argument, I don't think that's an argument that we should probably use. And then the other argument that I want to make sure that we point out is many have said, well, even when the game came out on console, it wasn't running at a full 30 FPS. Yes, there were parts of the game that caused dips across the board. Even your 60 FPS on PC suffered those little quirks that the game had. But many people fail to realize that Arkham Knight itself at launch had similar issues. On PC, when the game came out, did you know that it was actually very buggy and was locked at 30 FPS and you could not do anything? In fact, the game crashed all the time and it forced Warner to take the game down from the Steam page and people were getting their refunds. In fact, there's actually talk that at that time, if you did not take a refund, they actually went back and gave you Arkham City and Arkham Asylum as a free gift to keep your, to keep your copy of the game. Now, Gotham Knights didn't go through anything that bad. The game was still more playable than Arkham Knight at launch. And I've seen people even try to go ahead and say, well, that was actually developed by Iron Galaxy, so that wasn't necessarily Rocksteady. People will give Rocksteady any pass in the world. We're even seeing it with Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League. People will would say, no, man, Rocksteady can do no wrong and blah, blah, blah. But at the end of the day, the game is still the game that was developed and published under their name. I like Rocksteady. They're my favorite developers, but I cannot be subjective in the way that I criticize everyone. If I'm going to criticize one, I got to go after everybody. And if I'm going to give one a pass, I got to give the other one a pass as well, too. So for those of you that want to give Rocksteady a pass, it's fine, but I'd say you got to try at least to be consistent with the way you're doing it. Thanks for watching the video. Peace out.